falling in love with a Danish girl while traveling. Sit back and grab a warm coffee, this is going to take a bit. I'm a recent college grad with a degree in environmental science and GIS. I got a job quick after graduating and loved what I did. However, that love quickly turned to hatred when I realized %90 of what I was doing involved computer screens and non-human interaction. A huge part of my identity comes from human-to-human interaction, so I quit and decided to become a bartender instead. I bartended for half a year, saved all the money by living as cheaply as possible, and spent all my savings on a plane ticket to Berlin with a 2-month Eurorail pass. The trip started off as you'd expect. Roaming streets, checking out sights, etc. I loved Berlin and moved on to Amsterdam. Met one of my best friends here and learned a ton from him about keeping an open heart and mind. He told me love transcends sex. It's a feeling primal and untamable. I thought he was insane. I'm one of those people that found love to be a commercialized, non-existent emotion sold to us by media and movies. He enlightened me and told me the only way to find love is to not run from it. To love yourself above all else. After Amsterdam, I kept moving from Paris, Budapest, Rome, Naples, EU, Florence, Rimini, Verona, beautiful, Barcelona, Valencia, and finally Granada. By the time I had arrived in Granada, things were going well. I had a plethora of experiences under my belt and had believed I could finally relax and enjoy the beautiful small city of Spain. I had no idea one day this city will become the setting for all of my dreams and thoughts for the following months, maybe years. When I first got there, I instantly made a large group of friends from across the world in my hostel, Oasis Hostel. If you're ever in the area, highly recommend. These people each had a unique perspective on life. Then she came. I, sitting at a bar with my Aussie friend talking about something, who knows. I look up and she's standing halfway across the room. Face barely lit by the lanterns floating nearby on the hostel porch. I sip my sangria and wonder who that was. It was by no means love at first sight. I was just curious. She sat down by me and we talk a bit. She introduces herself as Tamara in a voice I liked instantly. Nothing crazy. Nothing happening. Just a new person to meet. I was as excited as I was about meeting anyone. We move on and go on a tapas tour organized by the hostel. Everyone groups together and runs across the city from bar to bar, drinking sangria and eating the free food that comes with it. A huge perk of Spanish culture. I realized halfway through the tour that my body had reached its max capacity of sangria and had to let some go. I run to the bathroom and wait in line. There she was waiting in line with me. We make some small talk again, but this time something happens. After about 5 minutes of talking, I realized that I didn't want to stop talking. I had to keep talking to her. She had such unique and honest opinions that I hadn't experienced elsewhere in my travels or at home in the States. After we use the bathroom, we're attached. We can't stop talking to one another. We finish the tour with a great flamenco show in a cave, but we both just want to keep talking to one another, so we leave halfway and sit on a brick wall overlooking the Alhambra and a river. We talk more, and at this point I can feel something happening. I'm immensely attracted to her. But not just physically, something else was happening. Something magnetic. I couldn't stop talking to her. After flamenco, we head back to the hostel. When we get close, I say something along the lines of, "I'm really not ready for bed yet." She agrees and asks what we should do. I say, "Let's get lost," and start running as fast as I possibly can. She runs after me and we try with all our might to get lost in the stone streets. After 15 minutes we succeed in our goal. We find ourselves on a bench overlooking a castle, bathing in full moon. The Sierra Nevada mountains lurking in the far distance, enough to give you the feeling that this was all an elaborate stage designed for a movie too good to be real. We sit there and I interrupt our non-stop talking to ask her if she'd like to listen to music. I put on my favorite song, Be Calm by Brian Eno. She'd never heard it. It puts us both in a mindset of calm and trust. I've known her for 2 hours, but at this point I trust her completely. Something was happening. I didn't know what. The song finishes and she takes out her headphones and looks at me. I ask what she's thinking and instantly she says, "This memory would be a lot better if you kissed me right now." Her honesty takes me by surprise. I smile shocked and lean in gently. It felt like talking rather than kissing. It felt natural and real. Usually when I'd kiss a girl I would go all out and try so hard to make it memorable or skilled. I never even thought about that with her. It was a communication. After that I was hooked. We spent the night together, and the next day she left to hike the Sierra Nevada mountains. I waited for her to come back, and when she did 2 days later it felt like it had been years. One day with her, and I was already missing her. I told her, and she said she felt the same. We decided we had to go to the Alhambra together. It's the largest castle in Spain in the heart of Granada. The next day we roamed the castle together, running across its many gardens and touching the walls with interest and passion. There was a point when we were overlooking one of the most beautiful gardens in the castle. I asked her what she thought of it all, and her response was, "It's all so beautiful, but it's strange because sometimes I catch myself focusing on things like your arm touching mine or the way you look." Her honesty again took me aback. I'm still not sure if this is a Danish thing or just how she is as a person. Something happened in the castle where we both just couldn't stop being close. The entire time we just fell harder and harder. Something about being surrounded by classic timeless beauty mixed with the Spanish sun. At this point I believe I experienced love for the first time in my life. It was unintentional and completely involuntary. It just happened. It was a need, not a want or an attraction, just a need for that person, and it still hasn't gone away. I had my last day in Granada and had to leave for Barcelona as I already had a train ticket. I asked her to meet me in Barcelona and she agreed. She was only able to get there, however, for 1 day before I had to leave and go to Berlin. So we had 1 day left together. We met up and roamed the streets. Our love grew immensely with every passing second. We spent hours laying on the beach, embracing as tight as we could and talking about our entire lives, trying so hard to learn as much as possible about one another before we left. There was a constant hovering time bomb over our heads. We knew this wouldn't last longer than a day, so we tried as hard as we could to hold on as tight as possible to these 24 hours we had. It was like being on death row. Time felt infinite, and at the same time completely fluid and fleeting like sand through our fingers. We spent the night talking and eating gelato and bakery goods. Each minute of talking I knew she was perfect for me. Everyone has someone for them in the world, and she was mine. At the end of the day we spent the night together and lay in a silent sadness, squeezing one another as tightly as possible, hoping if we hold tight enough it would keep us from separating. When we walked to the station the next morning it was like a funeral march. We got to the station and in a moment of desperation we embrace and whisper in each other's ears, "I'm falling in love with you." We laugh and smile back tears. I take one last look and get on the train. Logically, I know it's likely the last time I'll ever see her. Illogically, some part of me knew we'd meet again. I got home to the States a few days after our goodbye. I felt hopeless and lost. I met the person I've waited 24 years to meet. She was in my arms, and for some reason I left her thousands of miles away. I didn't have enough money to go back. It was over and I was stuck. Tomorrow was in a different world, as exotic as her name. A dream I had woken up from. I was depressed. Meanwhile, Tamara was at home working as a nurse. She felt the need as well. One night she was working on a patient with cancer that was particularly upsetting. She messaged me instantly after her shift saying, "Life is too short, I bought a ticket to America." At this point I was in a bar with a friend talking about how much I missed her. When I got that message I almost fainted. The dream was not only real but happening again. We spent the next 43 days running around the city. At first we were confused about what we felt for one another. We thought maybe Granada was a fluke, or we might have been influenced by the setting and mystery of it all. But the more time we spent together we realized there was a chemistry that could not be explained nor denied. We spent most of our days sitting in my car just talking for hours. We felt more close with one another after a month than we did with our best friends. I was as attracted mentally as I was physically, if not more so. After 20 days we confessed our love. It was real and mutual and amazing. She left a few days ago. I miss her like crazy, but we agreed we're going to make this work. We still talk for hours every day.